What's up guys, Meredith with AmericanTrucks.com, and today we are checking out these MotoFab upper control arms for 2.5 to 3 inches of lift, fitting all 2014 through 2016 Silverado 1500s with these stock cast steel control arms. Now if you've installed a lift kit on your Silverado that didn't come with the upper control arms and you want some better control in your ride and a more accurate alignment for your truck, these are going to be a great option to pick. Now specific to 2.5 inches to 3 inches of lift, these will be tailored to your setup to not only help with the ride, but also to last longer thanks to the correct angles if you want a long-term solution, and these will be more durable than factory if you're doing any off-road driving that will put more stress on your truck than typical street driving. Now I do want to call out, if you do have stock 20-inch wheels or larger, that you may need wheel spacers at least 1/4 inch to fit these properly and avoid any unwanted contact. Now the main purpose of these is to correct your alignment and your suspension geometry after throwing it off with a lift kit, and in turn that correction will provide a couple of different benefits. Now it will allow less stress on your suspension system, which is greatly going to increase that wear period, allowing you to enjoy this set for much longer, and it's going to flatten those angles that will help your ride feel a little bit smoother and more in your control, especially if you pair these with something like a spacer lift. Now these will also feature upgraded components for tougher off-road scenarios and heavier loaded situations, like handling a heavier tire in the wheel well. So if you do upgrade your wheels and tires, these will be able to handle that extra weight. Now speaking of the tough build, these are made of a MIG welded 1.25 inch DOM steel tube construction, and these are going to have quality welds and gusseting in the center for increased strength. Now on top, these will have a tough black powder coat to resist any rusting over time and resist any surface damage that may potentially expose the steel. Now the star of the show here will be the heavy duty 1-ton rated ball joints at the ends that not only will be durable and long lasting, but will also have a Zerk fitting with a little dust cap on the top, so you can maintenance these over time. This kit will also come with hardened rubber bushings that will refresh any worn, squishy, or torn ones that also have the potential to cause some instability in your system, so you're going to get some of that stability or control back with those, and this will come with all the provisions and hardware needed for a straightforward install. These are about $350 for the kit, which is honestly a great price. Now what's notable about this kit is that it has a tight lift height range, being within a 1/2 inch limitation within itself, or a 1/2 inch tolerance, which will help when it comes to dialing in your angles for the best ride quality. Now, they're also not too flashy in design or over the top with fancy bells and whistles, which will save you a little bit on price while still giving you more than enough strength to perform even if you're beating on your truck. So honestly, I think if you're looking to save a couple bucks but also want a high quality upper control arm that's going to give you some better stability in your suspension and correct those angles and last the long run, these are going to be a great pick. Install will be straightforward, but it is going to be a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. You should have a little bit of mechanical know-how in order to do this, but if you have that, it should only take about 2 hours or so. Now speaking of the install, one of our customers here has put these on their Silverado and is going to walk you through what the process looks like step by step, so that is going to wrap it up for what I have to say. Let's go ahead and jump into the install.
All right, here are the tools you're going to need for this job. First is make sure you have good quality jack stands. You want to be very safe and make sure those are under that truck in a couple of spots. You're going to need a few wrenches and sockets. You're going to need a 10 millimeter, 10 millimeter, an 18, 19, and a 21. And then also use an 18 millimeter wrench. You'll need a hammer, and I needed to use a pry bar to try to get the bolts out. And then you'll need some torque wrenches and a pair of needle nose pliers for the pin. Now I actually got a 3/4 inch ratchet here. It's the same size as a 19 millimeter, so I use a 3/4 in a few different places, you'll see. And make sure you have torque wrenches as well. The top bolt needs to be torqued to 140 foot-pounds. I saw a couple of other places, different figures. I saw 140, 144. I went ahead and tightened mine to 144 just to be a little bit safe. And the bottom needs to be torqued to 37 foot-pounds. And we'll get to that in a little bit once we get to installing them. Also, very important, liquid wrench. I have some lubrication there. That helps getting the bolts off a lot. Hello, today I'm going to be installing these MotoFab upper swing arms. Now I'm installing them because I previously installed a 2.5 inch front end leveling kit on the truck, and you have to install new swing arms that are adapted to the difference in height. So these swing arms are specifically made for trucks with a 2.5 to 3 inch front end leveling kit. So let's get going. I started to notice that I needed these when the outside of my tires, my front tires, were wearing very quickly. First thing I'm gonna do, we're gonna remove basically just 4 bolts. These 2 right here, the one underneath here, and just this one holding the brake line. So first thing I'm gonna do is lube up the bolts just to make it easier. This is just some lubricant. You can see I've already taken the tire off. Now typically I would mark where the alignment pins are right here, but I'm not going to because my alignment is pretty far off as it is. And so you're going to want to schedule an alignment as soon as you finish this. You will need a front end alignment. Take those bolts off. It says right here. Makes it a lot easier if you just lubricate it first. Cool. And I'm going to leave the pins in just for a moment while I loosen this. Now, one item of note, you always want to use jack stands as a safety precaution. Always use jack stands and not just the jack. Next thing we're going to remove is this bolt on the bottom of the swing arm. And I'm going to be using an 18mm wrench to do that. Now, the bolt that comes with the kit is actually a different size. It's not 18mm. Now, before I take that out and get it loose, the brake line is held on by a little bracket right here. I'm going to get a 10mm and just take that off. Leave it sort of hanging to the side. You always want to make sure that you're not putting pressure on your brake lines. And there is a hole pre-drilled on the new swing arm to accommodate this. So there's my brake lines. I'll just set that to the side for now. Continue to take this out. There's not really enough space for a socket right there, so I'm going to use a wrench. All right, and you're not going to reuse this bolt because the swing arms came with a new bolt that's actually a different size. So the next thing you're gonna do, I have these loose and I have this unbolted. I'm just gonna get a hammer and tap on this and it should. All right, I was able to knock this loose by just getting a pry bar, putting it on the spring and prying it up, tapping this at the same time on the brake lines currently. So I'm just gonna let that sit. Now at this point I can pull these bolts out right here. Make sure you keep these aligned with which side they go on. Now I wish I could say that it's always this easy, but on the other side I had to, one of these springs was in the way of the bolt coming out. So how I solved that is I got a ratchet strap and tied it around here and up here, and I pulled this spring up, and then I got the crowbar and pulled it up a little bit more, and that did the job. It barely came out, but it came out. All right, that one's out. And with the other one. That side. There we go, and here's the other bolt. Then this should just pull out, easy. Now I had one of these little pins fall out for the alignment. The factory bushings do not hold those in, but this new one will. And the bushing is a little bit more snug, which I'm grateful of. So you just got to work it in, and we're going to come put these bolts back in. I'm going to wiggle this around, try to find the hole. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this piece on right here. And just put the bolt on to hold all the pieces there. I'm going to move to the other side. Perfect. All right, now I'm going to line that up, stick that down the hole. Now this came with a different bolt for the bottom of it. It is a 19 millimeter. So I'm going to just put this on loosely. So this is the underside of the swing arm. This bolt right here goes on right under there. Easy. Then I'm going to tighten that and put the pin in a moment. I'm glad I caught this. One stupid mistake that I made was I put the brake line underneath the swing arm. So I'm just gonna take this bolt off, loosen it, and make sure that brake cable is in the right spot. Then put this bolt back on the underside. And I'm gonna go ahead and bolt both of these brake lines back on. Once again, this is a 10 millimeter. And it is, once again, a 10 millimeter that puts this bolt on. And the arm comes prefabricated with the threads. I'm going to be tightening this bolt down here with a 13/16. I'm just going to snug it up. I'm sorry, I'm tightening this bolt down here with a 3/4. Just going to snug it up. You have to torque all of these once it's on the ground. The torque for these, I believe, is about 140. And the torque for this is 37. So I'm gonna wait until I get the tire back on and lower it all the way down before I torque these to spec. Now, I need an alignment anyway. My alignment was sort of bad, so I'm not going to try to put these exactly back where they were, but I'm gonna try to slide these around to be somewhere close to where they were when I started, and then tighten these down. That one. There we go. So now that is installed. All I'm going to do now is put the tire back on and then lower it and then torque them to spec. Once again, that's about 144 and this one is about 37 foot-pounds. That's basically it. It's relatively easy, as long as you can get this bolt out here without the springs getting in the way. So we are on the underside. This is the bolt that the pin needs to go in to hold it. Now, the pinhole is right there and I can barely not get it in. So what I'm gonna do, I've already torqued this, but what I'm gonna do is tighten it just a hair more so I can get the pin in. Oh, looks like I can tighten it just a little hair more. There we go. So that pin is in. Now I'm going to. Right, so I'm going to get that. Then I'm going to needle nose pliers and just bend these to the side, just like that. It's gonna lock that bolt in place.
So that is going to wrap it up for my review and the install of the MotoFab upper control arms for 2.5 to 3 inch lifts fitting all 2014 through 2016 Silverado 1500s with the stock cast steel control arms. And you can find these right here at AmericanTrucks.com.